Welcome this afternoon to the Canadian Tire Center. The Ottawa Senators and the Columbus Blue Jackets as we have a look at our goaltenders. And this is old time here. If you go by the nicknames, it's Bob the goalie against Andy, Sergei Bobrovsky.
Well, folks, I did not meet him in Columbus when last these two teams met. Bobrovsky did not play against the Montreal Canadiens in the last game, but he did start the 4 games in between for Columbus. He is their number 1 guy. And, of course, a Vezina Trophy winner last year. At the other end, you wanted a bounce-back game. The Ottawa Senators got it from their number 1 goaltender. Greg Anderson making 31 saves, much needed against a tough opponent in the Boston Bruins, and the victory.
As we get set to go, and as we've been talking about leading up to this game, how well they played, not surprisingly, the starting line for Ottawa in this game is Chris Neil and Zach Smith and Colin Greening. And right off the bat, Chris Neil drills Fedor Tutin into the boards. That causes an icing and a face-off back down in the Columbus end. And as we mentioned and as we expected, the banging begins early.
And you know what? The shield does not bother Chris Neil anymore. There's no bothering his sight. There's nothing about it. He sees his target and he runs right into it. Planting the seed for the Ottawa Senators, in my view, always has to be finishing your checks early. They're a big team, they're known for it, and it is one of their best assets.
Off the draw, puck hops back out to center. Columbus gets a change in as the puck is scooped back out to center. Jackets down to the line, puck is dumped to the corner. McKenzie goes in to chase it, and he and Greiba both go down together. And back up ice. Greening back to the middle, tried to feed it through to Neil, but offside the call as we have a look at our keys to the game. Brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of the NHL.
Well, when the Ottawa Senators score first, okay, they're 5-0-1. So my feeling is if they can win the first period, they're really going to take the juice out of a team that has been struggling to find W's. For the Blue Jackets, one of the areas that Todd Richards would love to have this team improve on is fewer shots against. 12 of the 19 games they played in, they've allowed 30-plus shots, 40 shots against. There's Todd Richards, 40 shots against in the loss in Montreal. Again, a shootout loss. So Todd figures that if we can slow down the opposition's attack during the 60 minutes of play, we might be able to come out with a win.
Puck went off a stick up and out of play, so again a face-off in the neutral zone. This one won by the Jackets. And out to center they come in the neutral zone. Puck is dumped down to the Ottawa end by Wisniewski. Round the boards. Back to the point. Murray. His shot knocked down by Carlson before it gets there. Conacher tries to clear it out. He gets smeared into the boards as he's put in hard by Boone Jenner. Jenner coming back off injury in this game as he has missed his last 9 with a leg injury. Puck knocked down on the way to the net. Front of the net waiting for it was Boone Jenner. Back of the net now. Summary pass. Atkinson tried to get it to the front of the net. Couldn't do it. And now quickly Spezza out to center. Conacher runs the puck down inside the Columbus end. Both teams get a change. Swinging back to get it. Here's Ryan Murray. Slides the puck ahead. Tutin down to the line and coming through Greiba. Had some evil intentions for R.J. Umberger to the corner. Puck hits the side of the net. Back to the point now. Tutin slides it across. The long shot tips in front, and that one goes high into the glass. Jack Johnson just wanted to get it to the net. Back to the point again. Tutin can't hold it in. Puck comes out. Now he's got to chase it, and Ryan is on him. Ryan slides by his check, but coming in. MacArthur nearly stole the puck away. Back out to center. It floats. Phillips just shovels the loose one back down inside the Jackets' end. Jack Johnson there to pick it up. Ottawa changing. Slides it across, and Tutin banks the puck ahead. Nick Foligno backhands it in. He heads off on a change. Borowiecki swings back to his own net. Tried to hook up Boll. Now along the boards. Puck comes free. Tip back to the net again. Here's Anisimov. Former Ranger trying to come out the other side. Phillips puts the wood to him. Here's Boll. Drops it back. To the corner again. Phillips and Anisimov. Anisimov comes off the pin. Tries to center it. It's knocked down. Boll in front. Puck is lying there, and Anderson gets a piece of it. Now Boll and Borowiecki take turns bashing each other in the chest.
Hockey Life, the ultimate hockey megastore.
Not a lot of breathing room here for Columbus. You can see where the play has stopped, but these two, you got Borowiecki going against a real veteran fighter and Jared Boll, and I can pretty much assure you that Borowiecki has done his homework.
Oh, knows who he is.
Yep. Knows which hand is coming first.
Yes. Boll is an inch bigger and 10 pounds heavier. Tons of experience, and he's good at it.
Yeah.
Borowiecki is a gamer, so if they should happen to do the tango in this game, I'm not sure it'll be a shock to anybody. As the former Blue Jacket, Mathot tries to tip it out, can't do it. Puck along the boards, and McCulloch now slides the puck ahead. Spezza fires it hard in along the boards. Conacher trying to get there. Conacher sends it back to Spezza. Spezza tried to center it. Play is knocked down back to the point. Carlson winds, fires, tipped in front. Bobrovsky the save. Redirected nicely by Conacher. Mathot fires it back in. Both teams changing as the puck runs along the boards. Picked up now by Ryan Murray. Jackets try to break it up. Rink-wide pass. Here's Dubinsky to the line. Dubinsky trying to take it wide. Gryba leans in on him. Dubinsky had nowhere to go. This is a big pair where you've got 6'4" Eric Gryba and 6'5" Jared Cowan out there, and a couple of heavyweights. Gryba is about 225, and Cowan is now edging closer to 230 as he grows. And yes, I said grow. He's only 22. He's still getting bigger.
And they played together a couple of times now, Cowan and Gryba. And I'm watching them right now. There are several areas where they actually communicated. Not that that's so unusual, but sometimes it takes a defense pair a little while just to get used to one another. The one thing that will definitely help you accelerate getting to feel comfortable together is conversation on the ice.
Well, this defense as a unit is big and young. 5 of the 8 defensemen are 25 or under. 4 of the 8 defensemen are 220 or over in weight. And as far as heights go, you have no sub 6-footers. Centering pass knocked down by Mathot, who comes back nicely to take that play away from Johansson. Carlson hooked up with Umberger, has his stick all tied up. Umberger now digs it out. Back to the point. Johnson winds, fires. That one deflected wide. Penalty call is on the way, his side of the net. Mark Mathot spins his man around and drops Foligno. So off in the box will go Mathot, and the first power play of this game will go to the Blue Jackets.
Well, again, you know, the puck not getting out of the zone, that first pass not being able to be real clean results in the Columbus Blue Jackets keeping the puck in the zone, and then the eventual penalty. There you see Mathot. But all of that is created by the fact that with the puck in hand, some control, the Senators did not make that quick first pass out of the zone, and now they've got to kill off a penalty.
So Mathot traded for Foligno. Foligno goes down, Mathot goes off. Tie-ins continue. Back to the point, quick shot. Anderson makes the save. Ryan Murray there to hold it in. Another chance, scores! Johansson snaps it by Anderson. 1-0 Blue Jackets.
Well, it kind of goes right to script, doesn't it? We talked about how the scoring is spread out for Columbus. Johansson is one of the 4 guys that has 5 goals to lead the team on the Blue Jackets. A face-off win while on the playoff, and really right off the face-off, and really too much time to maneuver. And probably you figure with Chris Phillips falling down while he was getting tangled up with Umberger, left Johansson too much time. And Craig Anderson already committed. It was almost an easy goal over the shoulder of Craig Anderson.
That is the first power play goal of the season for Johansson, and gives him 6 goals in total on the year, which means he leads this team in goal production now. On the boards, Carlson can't get a hold of the puck. Knocked down. Conacher off the boards, but stolen away. Quickly turned back to the blue line. Now McCulloch in the corner, picks up the puck. Skates it ahead to Carlson. Carlson down to the Columbus line, sends it to the wing. Spezza, high slot, deals it off. That angle in front. Thought McCulloch was going to get a shot away, but it was a hard pass. Round the boards. Here's Mathot in from the point. Shovels it back to the corner. Spezza out the other side. Tries to wheel it back in front for McCulloch. Cleared around the boards and back out to center. In the neutral zone. Here's Boone Jenner, dumps it to the corner. He and Methot to the corner together. Jenner takes down Methot in behind the net. Dubinsky goes to the front of the net. They get it back to the point. Johnson sends it back to the point. Atkinson keeps it alive on the high cycle. Tooten puts it in behind the net. Dubinsky reaching for it. Backside pass, and he nearly connected with Atkinson. Back to the point again. Shot through traffic, knocked down by Spezza. And then it goes off his stick and up and into the Ottawa bench. A 1-0 Columbus lead here in period 1 on Canadian Tire Senators hockey.
Community hockey brought to you by Scotiabank. You're richer than you think. As proud supporters of kids' community hockey teams across Canada, Scotiabank wants to hear how your team is impacting or giving back to your community. Tag your stories and photos using hashtag ScotiaHockey for a chance to be recognized in an upcoming Senators broadcast.
All right, face off to the left of the Ottawa goal, which was just receiving some brief in-goal camera repair. Those are the ones not operated by us, but the ones operated by the league. Good news for us is that they pay for them and we get to use them.
Always a good thing.
Always a good thing. Puck slides by Ryan and out. Off the boards, Phillips chips the puck ahead, back to center and out. Chaput puts a hit on Phillips, back to the corner. Borowiecki. Phillips does a nice job to protect his partner there. Otherwise, Borowiecki put himself in a bad spot. Could have been at the base of an El Kabongo. Offside, waved off. No, actually, now they call it. And the face-off will come back outside the Columbus line.
Well, Dean mentioned the fact that the Smith line that was so good physically against the Boston Bruins got the start for Paul McLean in this afternoon's game, and it worked. They got 3 hits. The problem, there hasn't been much follow-up. Not a lot of energy has come out in the subsequent lines. The Ottawa Senators then taking a penalty, giving up a power play goal, and here we are, down by 1.
Again, the puck goes up and out of play, and for whatever reason, with pucks going out of play and icings, it has been a real herky-jerky start to this game this afternoon.
Well, maybe that's what the players are feeling. Sitting on the bench, you're not getting all excited about your next shift. You're sometimes, and it happens, it really does. Your mind wanders, you float away, you're looking up at the scoreboard, lots of lights, lots going on. You almost have to pull yourself back into focus.
Carlson from center dumps it down to the corner.
I do want to say it's still a very poor excuse. Okay, let me make that clear, but it happens.
Rink wide, Greening dumps the puck to the corner. Tooten along the boards. Turns away from Greening, gets the puck ahead. Foligno out to center. Bouncing it down to the line, Umberger on the wide side. Johansson is coming down the backside, calling for a pass back in front. Foligno, his shot right on Anderson. Takes it in the crest and holds on.
Now the Senators are taking a few things for granted right now, and the idea is that, you know, you've got a situation where the defensive cross, you got Methot and Carlson looking for the puck. Foligno sneaks in behind in a big white space that's made available right there. Look, there are no jerseys around him. He gets the puck, plenty of time to fire it, and fortunately for the Senators, that was right in the midsection of Anderson.
Off the drop, back to the point. Murray gets it across. Wisniewski floats it inside of the net. Puck comes back out front again and back up ice. Here comes Eric Condra. Condra flips the puck to the corner, goes into chase it himself. He and Wisniewski get turned around. Puck comes free, but on it is Boone Jenner. Lobs it ahead. Grant thought he'd knocked it down and was going to make a play on it, but couldn't hold the puck in. Greiben now to the line. Lead pass. Busting through. Here's Grant. His shot missed the net. Back along the boards. Condra waiting for it. Zibanejad couldn't get him the puck. And it is dumped back down inside the Ottawa zone by Jenner. Now Cowan to center, bouncing the puck ahead to the Blue Jackets line. Picked up there. And now back up ice. Nikitin sends it to the Ottawa line. McKenzie's shot doesn't get through. Turning with it in his own zone. Conacher gives it, then almost gets it back. Not a smooth transition, though. Ottawa this time just flips it back out. Greiba does, all the way back down to the Blue Jackets line. Not at all the breakout they were wanting or hoping for. Here's Cowan. Slaps the puck to the corner. Spezza takes it off the boards, loses the puck. Quick save by Anderson. And Spezza just clears it out.
Well, Derek McKenzie, I don't think had an idea that that puck was going to end up right on his hockey stick as Spezza turned towards the center of the ice, not far away from the net. McKenzie just taking a whack at it, created his own chance.
Neal scoops the puck to the corner. Here's Tootin. Smith puts him into the board, steals the puck. Then the stick comes up and catches Smith in the face. Play goes on. Puck is bounced down to the Ottawa line. Mafat knocks it down, clears it out. Here's Zach Smith to the line again. Drops it off, and that drop brings an offside call.
This period brought to you by the redesigned 2014 Toyota Tundra. Tough enough for any project.
Well, he's been playing well. Derek Grant hasn't got a goal yet, has one assist, and this one here is a missed shot. And then on the other end there you see the shot by McKenzie that really required a save by goaltender Craig Anderson.
Icing the call, waved off as they get in there quickly. Diving save there. So Mafat got the body in front of that slap shot. Everybody thought it was going to be an icing call, but Chaput broke it up. Here's a quick chance, knocked away as Anderson tips the puck to the corner. Senators giving up some grade A chances in their own end this afternoon.
Well, 7-1 are the shots on net, and I can think that 5 of them were good scoring chances.
Bobby Ryan tries to go cross ice. Turris knocked down before he ever gets a shot away as Jack Johnson puts him to the ice.
Well, you get to the other side of the rink. You got Todd Richards, the coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's got his number 1 guy in goal, and Bobrovsky. He's got his team believing that they have been out of the win column the last couple of games just by mere coincidence. They lost 2 in overtime and 1 in shootout, last one being in Montreal. So he's trying to keep positive, and so far the Blue Jackets have found easy entry into the Ottawa zone.
Jackets back in front, quick shot. Bobrovsky the save off the snapshot from Milan McCulloch.
Well, a major acquisition for a young team that is building. You get yourself a goaltender at that age, and Bobrovsky already winning a Vezina really bodes well for a franchise. And if you did what I did and watched him stretch, you'd think that he probably has a career with Cirque du Soleil. The guy is Gumby. It's unbelievable the workout he has before the game.
Side of the net, Bobrovsky holds the post, holds on, and now we get more pushing and shoving. No, they're going to need him to be as good as he was last year. They, as you mentioned, they've lost 8 of their last 9. Those last 3 losses, though, you mentioned the shootout loss to Montreal, the overtime loss in Boston, the overtime loss in Washington. I'm not sure, Denny, for a team that's in the situation they're in, if that's a positive or a bigger heartbreak. I don't know, but.
Well, it led me to say that the key for the Ottawa Senators is to win the first period. You know, just don't let them start building on anything. Take their wind away and their hope away. So far, Columbus has had the better of the play.
Cross corner, Foligno puts the puck to the corner. Umberger and Mafat along the boards. Umberger comes away with the puck, rather make that Mafat does, out to center. Zach Smith to the line, can't get through the crowd as he's throwing arms over his shoulders. Guys are all over him.
Well, it was 1-on-3. Not a good sign as you cross center ice. Entry into the Columbus zone has not been easy for the Senators.
Lead pass from MacArthur doesn't connect. Columbus just dumps it back to the Ottawa end again. Trying to force Ottawa to bring it back 200 feet. To the middle and out to center. Here's Jared Cowan. Tips the puck to the line. He'll go in and chase it himself. Sends the puck back to the net as he takes a shot from David Savard. And that jars the glass free, and so they'll have to fix that. As they do that, we'll break away. A 1-0 Columbus lead here in the first.
Great seats are still available for this Wednesday as Danny Heatley and the Minnesota Wild visit Canadian Tire Center to take on the Sens. For more information, go to capitaltickets.com. subwayseries.ca. Also, make sure you don't miss this year's Subway Super Series. It's Team Russia taking on Team QMJHL. That is tomorrow at 7 p.m. and you can watch it on Sportsnet East, Ontario, as well as Pacific.
All right, also with Minnesota coming to town, fans here their chance to see one of the best young defensemen in hockey. Jonas Brodin is an unbelievable young player. And you get a chance to see him, and Minnesota rolls into town. Along the boards. Also get a chance possibly to see the best save percentage goalie in the NHL right now. Harding tied right now with Robin Lehner for the best save percentage in the NHL at .945. And so we will see. Who knows? Back-to-back games, Philadelphia, and then back home against Minnesota. Possibly Lehner might see Harding. We don't know.
Well, you're also going to see a defenseman who plays a lot. More than Carlson.
More than anybody.
Yeah, more than anybody. Number one in the league. Averaging 29 and a half minutes a game.
Suter led the league last year in average time on ice per game, and no different this year. He is easily, and has been, Denny, pretty much since game one of the regular season, logged the most ice time on a per game basis of any player in the league. Carlson has been second at times, third. I think right now he's fourth in that category. But they're all within, 30 seconds of each other, 20 seconds of each other, by and large, up at that top group, the guys who play a ton.
Well, the guys who play well a ton. Carlson played 10 minutes more against the Bruins than he did against the Flyers. So that was a big switch, and that really is Paul McLean's doing. Wasn't happy with the way Carlson was playing, and now Carlson can go on the power play and show something to his team and his coach. There's a tripping call. You'll see it's the reaching for the puck. Down goes Grant, and Dubinsky will go to the box for tripping.
So Ottawa goes to the power play, 0 for 2 in the Boston game. They have not been good on the power play of late. Just 1 for 15 the last 3 games, and Spezza drills it into the leg of Derek McKenzie. Round the boards, it's back out to center. Carlson comes across, throws it back through the middle, but it deflects off the stick, and an easy clear for the Blue Jackets. This Columbus team is actually, as we showed you in the opening, really turned the corner apparently in their special teams. On their penalty kill, they've given up just 2 goals in the last 5 games. Spezza to the side of the net, gets it back. Try it again. Backside play to Bobby Ryan. It hops over his stick. Here's Foligno back the other way. Nick Foligno with Anisimov. Sends it through, Anisimov rolling puck. Foligno nearly gets it back. Tourist didn't see it coming, either the puck or Foligno's check. And was surprised by the puck and then jolted by the check. Less than a minute to go in this Ottawa power play. Spezza to the line and in. Puck is flipped back out to center. And Ottawa has to retract and regroup again. Puck is stolen away and cleared back down ice by Letestu. And so again, Ottawa back in their own end. To center. Here's Phillips. Fires the puck in. Retrieval mode begins. Along the boards. McCulloch gets on Tootin. Puck comes free. Back along the boards. Zibanejad there to hold it in. Here's Zibanejad. Drops it back. McCulloch goes low to the corner with it. They rotate up back in front. Right on. Save is made. Zibanejad with a great shot. Better save, though, by Bobrovsky.
Well played there by McCulloch as he waited for the right time to get the puck to Zibanejad.
Ottawa can't get in, and then Conacher is dumped just as Dubinsky comes out of the box back to 5-on-5. Along the boards, it's dumped to the corner by Como. Again, Como along the boards puts the puck back to the corner. He and Greiba in a battle. Here's Conacher. Deals the puck away to Neal. Takes a hit to make that play. Neal to the line. Gets in. Swings the puck around the net to the other side. Greening just off the bench. Gets there. Puck hops up in the glass. Neal tries to pin it. Greening comes in to help. He's pressed in by Jenner. Everybody looking for it now. Puck comes free back out to center. Gryba came in and he tried to absolutely paste Como and just missed. Along the boards, Smith pinned in the corner. Greening, he's bumped from behind. They're digging for it. Finally we get a whistle and a face-off in the Columbus end when we return. Now, hold on, people disagreeing with each other. Zibanejad with a great chance just moments ago.
Welcome back. Boone Jenner back in the Columbus Blue Jackets lineup, and like many other players in the NHL, his hockey bloodlines are strong. Jenner's uncle is former New York Islander Billy Carroll and former teammate of our very own Denny Potvin, and that's Billy Carroll. A great picture of him hoisting one of his 4 Stanley Cups, and I'm sure Denny was very close by when that picture was taken.
I was holding his teeth.
That was a big job. He had a few of them, guys. There's more than a few chiclets missing there. Oh, that's funny.
You know, the value of a Billy Carroll then, was huge because you go back to that time in the early 80s, you only had 17 skaters. You didn't have the 18, so you didn't have 4 lines rolling over. So you had guys like Billy Carroll who would, well, typically he'd go and play on either the first line, second line, or third line. He was a centerman by nature, but as many centermen do, they can adapt to playing the wing as well. So it was a bit of a different game in that you had one fewer player forward, and then oftentimes you played 5D as well rather than 6. Everybody had a little more ice time.
Puck is deflected on the way to the net. Well, we talk about long shifts now and the guys who play a lot. Back when you were playing, as Umberger brings it into the zone, guys like you and Bobby Orr, a lot of games never left the ice for more than a breather here and there. You know,
yeah, it didn't feel like it. Yeah, well, just tremendous recovery.
That's what it was.
Rate. It was unequaled in today's athletes.
That's what it is. That's right. Chris Neal tips the puck ahead, but not out. Tries to slide by Johansson. Neal.
Ooh, that's a high hit.
I think he got the butt end of Johansson's stick in the mouth.
It's not like he hasn't been hit in the face enough of late. Probably still feeling some pain, or is it something else? It
Well,
like
I think this was accidental, but nonetheless, I'm not sure. We'll have to get a look at it. But just out of the corner of my eye, I thought that Johansson's, the butt end of his stick or that part of his hand came up and caught Neal in the face, just as he was getting spun around and hit by Greening.
Yeah. We'll take a good look right here. And it looked like the cross-check came up across the ear. That's what I think. Huh?
Yeah.
It looked like it. The referee was in the corner. There's no call made on it.
I got the cross-check, the stick right across the side of the head.
When is this going to stop, he's saying.
Has there been a game where he hasn't gotten a puck, a stick or something in the head or the mouth or the eye?
And the reason he's wearing the shield, for those of you who didn't see it a few games ago, is, just blasting out of your own zone. And Erik Karlsson trying to make a cross-ice pass, got the puck up in the air and hit Chris Neal, and hence having to wear a shield now to allow the bruising to heal around the eye.
I think the stitches are out now. I didn't get a close look at them, but I think the stitches are out now. He had stitches both above and below the eye because the puck kind of intersected the eye. And he had to put the shield on as the puck goes again up and out of play.
Get an oil change by December 15th and get a free gift. Michelin Hybrid Wiper Blades. Get your coupon at MrLube.com.
One shot on the power play. Not a lot. As much as the team has been winning 4-0-1, in the last 5 games, the power play in those 5 games, 6.7% efficiency. Not very good at all. So the coach is always looking for maximum output. We'll look to the power play to be more effective, and they would need it now.
Now this game is going to change as soon as one team hits the alarm clock here, because it's been kind of a sleepy opening period for both these teams. Between the two of them, they have mustered only 12 shots together. There's a steal. Grant inside the line. Grant cuts back, drops back. Phillips, his shot misses low. Puck is flipped ahead back through center and down to the Ottawa end where Mafat picks it up. Mark Mathon in behind his own end. Chaput heads back to the bench on a change as Mathot floats it towards center, but it's knocked down. Back the other way. Jenner's weak shot is tipped on the way to the net. Mathot goes to the corner. He and Dubinsky, a couple of big boys, wrangle for space. Dubinsky is 6'2", 215-ish. Puck comes off the boards, and Mathot can't swing around to clear it out. From the point, there's a shot deflected in front. Save is made by Anderson. Turning it back to the front of the net. Trying to spin it back is Atkinson. Atkinson turns again. Drops it to the corner. Carlson tries to pin Jenner. Carlson tried to get the skates on that puck. Mathot again tries to clear it away with his stick. Does, just one-handed. Bobby Ryan throws it to the corner. And that one whistled down as an icing call, and a face-off will come all the way back to the Ottawa end.
This period brought to you by the redesigned 2014 Toyota Tundra. Tough enough for any project.
Well, like many times before, he's been hurt. And like many times before, he comes right back. Chris Neal back on the bench, ready for the next shift.
There you go. As you can see, he was just asked. Cross-check to the side of the head, he said. That's what we thought. Video didn't lie there. Inadvertent, though, I think. It was just a tangle up, and all of a sudden, boom, you got a stick coming through your ear.
Now, you always have to make the point that the rules do say you have to be in control of the stick all the time. So inadvertent shouldn't dissuade a referee from making a call.
Jackets in the neutral zone. Como fires it in around the boards. As the former Islander. Going back to the bench was Ryan. Coming on the ice was Conacher. They collided in the neutral zone.
I'll check to see if they count that as a hit.
Bobby Ryan laid out Conacher. Lead pass, hops over Spets, a stick, but on the follow-up. Carlson pinned along the boards, comes off the boards and sweeps the puck back to Jared Cowan. Conacher bouncing it down to the Columbus line. Wisniewski swings it across. And now Ryan Murray gets to the line, dumps it to the corner. Driver picks it up. Turns around as he gets hung up on the way out of the zone by Johansson. Back inside of the net. Puck comes free, and nice job by Anderson to poke it away. Otherwise, Umberger would have been all alone in front of the net with a puck.
That was a strange bounce off the glass.
Conacher trying to cut to the net. Here's Johansson, the goal scorer in this game so far, back to the line. Dumps it to the corner. Here's Cowan. Finds Greiber. Loses control of the puck. And turning it back quickly. Atkinson goes to the forehand. Save is made. Greiber too casual coming out of the zone. Gives away the puck, and thus a great chance. Dump to the corner. Greening goes in to retrieve it. Greening first on the puck. He and Tootin grapple for it. Tootin gets help from his teammates. Here's Dubinsky. Smith knocks away his chance to exit the zone. Blue Jackets just want to get out of this with the 1-goal lead. So a cautious exit from the zone. And it's centered. It is lobbed by Tootin back to the Ottawa end. On the boards, Neal collides with Jenner and gets the puck back out to center. Jackets in their own zone again. A slow exit from the zone in the neutral zone. Jenner tips it into the Ottawa end. Here's Borowiecki now. Up the boards, tipped by Condra back to center. They just lob it back in, knocked down, loose puck in front of the net, steered to the corner by Smith. And that will do it. A 1-0 lead for Columbus after 20 minutes of play here at Canadian Tire Center. Hockey Central at the intermission. Doug MacLean in studio with your host, Jeff Merrick.
And Dean, I can imagine the Ottawa Senators dressing room in that first intermission will not be a quiet room, let's just say. Sluggish start for both teams. Ottawa down a puck. Coming up this intermission, Doug MacLean will break down Ottawa Senators special teams and a closer look at the Ottawa forecheck as well. Ryan Johansson 6th. Jackets up 1-0.
Your first period scoring summary brought to you by the Metro Ford dealers of Ottawa. Just one goal in the first period. It was Ryan Johansson with his 6th of the season. They made it 1-0 Columbus. Senators being outshot 10-5 in the first period. Now joined by Jason York. Jason, I'm sure it's not funny to him, but it's almost become comical. Every single game, it seems like Chris Neil gets hit with a stick, a puck, whatever is possible to hit him in the face, it seems like it does. Have you ever seen anything like this?
I've seen guys get it a couple times, but not as often as Chris Neil has been hit in the face this year. He's had absolutely horrible luck. Earlier on in the season, he got the puck right in the face against the Los Angeles Kings. Then his own teammate, Zach Smith, when they were in San Jose, gets him in the face. Erik Karlsson joined in on the act, hitting Chris Neil with the puck in the face. So what does he do? He finally decides to put a visor on. All of a sudden, he's a skill guy. I was joking around with him before the game. I said, you're scoring goals now. You got the visor on. And again, now he's got a visor on. He's a targeted guy. Johansson accidentally gets him, but once again, gets it late in the chops. Had to leave the game for a little bit, but he's back on the bench and looks like he's back and ready to go again.
Thank you, Jason. Hopefully this sends Chris Neil and the Senators have better luck in the second. For the call of the second, here's Team Brennan, Denny Potvin.
Well, luck may change, I suppose, Denny, if both these teams get it into a different gear, because in period number one, I think it's fair to say that you can pick your adjective, but sleepy, sluggish, both these teams didn't seem to have it close to second gear, never mind approaching third or fourth gear.
Well, Dean, there's one thing that you can't wipe out, and that are statistics. For the Ottawa Senators, 0 shots on goal from Bobby Ryan, Kyle Turris, and Clark MacArthur. That is the big line. 0 shots on goal from Jason Spezza and Erik Karlsson. So there you have your top 5 core guys not getting a shot on goal. I would imagine that might have been a conversation that was brought up between the first and second period.
To center, puck is sent deep inside the zone and whistled down. And a face-off will come all the way back down after that icing call, and a face-off to the left of Craig Anderson.
You know, it's a long season. There's a lot of reasons not to be good every night, but none of them make any difference, and they don't matter. But the top line, certainly the top scoring line for the Ottawa Senators, have been outstanding so far this season, as evidenced by the point totals and by the plus-minus. But tonight they have not contributed, and a power play goal is what is between them and the Blue Jackets so far.
Along the boards, puck trickles to the side of the net. Anderson knocks it down. Spezza tries to squeeze through a hole to get out. He's got McKenzie all over him. Finally clears it out wide side and at center. Conacher fires it down inside the Columbus end. Bobrovsky out of the net. Plays it along the glass. In fact, puts it up into the glass. And I can tell those who are wondering, he's a personal friend of ours, and I think everybody in Ottawa knows, or at least has heard of, Bruce Garriock from the Ottawa Sun. He and his wife, Maria, are in Chicago this weekend. Went down to see the Bears game. Well, if you haven't heard the news, they have evacuated Chicago Stadium because of tornado warnings. And so I just sent a message down to Bruce to make sure that he and Maria were fine. They're standing on the concourse. He said there's thousands of people there. And it's raining and it's wet, and I guess the wind, he says, is just unbelievable. But everyone so far is okay.
Well, as so many people know, the weather being 60 degrees Fahrenheit at this time of year in Chicago means that the warm air is causing a lot of these weather changes.
Look at you, Mr. Meteorologist. To the front of the net, Bobrovsky kicks it out.
Hear it every day in Florida. Oh, the warm weather mass, the cold weather mass, usually the cold weather mass.
Centering pass off a leg. Bobrovsky makes the save, and the puck springs out. And we get a whistle as clearly the puck was not covered, but the two referees lost sight of it.
Little more offensive zone time only in this first minute and a half of the second period than the Ottawa Senators had in maybe the whole of the first period. You heard the interview with Sean McKenzie and Mark Mathot. It was exactly what Mark Mathot pointed out. We spent too much time in our zone to create anything on the offense, and least of all testing goaltender Bobrovsky.
Dubinsky off in the box again for the second time in this game. This time he grabbed Condra's jersey and yanked him backwards, so he's off in the box for that. And Ottawa goes back to the power play. 0 for 1 in this game on the power play, and they mustered but one shot. Spezza misses high, and the puck rings the glass back out to center. Everybody has to come back out. Here's Karlsson now. Head to MacArthur. To the line and in. Wicks off the stick of Spezza. Spezza in to pick it up himself. Along the boards. Gets hooked up. Comes off the wall with it. Back in front. Ryan slides it across. Carlson with a shot. That's knocked down in front. Loose puck, and now here's Anisimov back to center. Anisimov and Foligno short-handed. Shot low and wide. Foligno takes it off the boards. Carlson tries to take the puck away from him. Good active stick by Foligno. Keeps him in the play. And now back up ice. Turris. Lead pass. Bobby Ryan to the line. Leaves it there for Turris. To the line and in. Ottawa gets everybody in the zone. Spezza works it across. Carlson. Back through the box to Turris. Turris tries the pass. It's deflected on the way there. The Testu. And Spezza tried to center it for Bobby Ryan. Intercepted and cleared back down ice by Letestu.
You can almost see the puck carrier for the Senators looking to find a little hole to pass the puck through and keep motion going on the power play. You don't need to find the little hole. The lanes are bigger.
Here's Zibanejad back to McCulloch. Zibanejad in front. Probably too close. Back to the point. Carlson drops it backside. Conacher walks in through the box. Backhander from Phillips. Goes off the stick of Murray to the glass. Off the boards. Conacher goes down. Puck is cleared back out to center. Not all the way down though. And that means Columbus unable to change. Conacher into the zone. Drops it back. Phillips gets it across. Carlson tries to get it to the slot. Knocked down. Dubinsky comes out of the box. Johansson tried to feed him. Conacher stayed on him to take away that pass. Here's Johansson centering play. That's knocked off the stick of Jenner. Back to the point. Nikitin with a shot. Misses low and wide. Off the boards. Puck is chopped back to center and down to the Columbus end by Conacher. Back in his own zone. Nikitin slides the puck across. And out to center. Jenner. Down to the line and in. Atkinson going to the net. Jenner with a shot goes off the post. Off the post and up into the mesh. Let's go down to ice level. Here's Sean.
Thank you, Dean. Today, of course, is Sunday, which means there's NFL on Sportsnet as well as City. Today at 4, San Francisco takes on New Orleans. Or for Packers fans, Green Bay is up against the New York Giants. Take your pick.
Boone Jenner, good shot, hits the crossbar, essentially missing the net or hits the post. Boone Jenner ended up his junior hockey in Oshawa, scored 45 goals that last season. So he can be a sniper, and I guess Columbus are looking for more offense from him now that he's back from an injury that kept him out 9 games.
Penalty call is on the way against Borowiecki as he went to the line, and they're going to call this roughing. He basically just hit his man too hard.
Well, this is certainly not what the response should be, because everybody in this building wants a little more hitting.
Okay.
That's a solid, meet your guy outside your blue line. Don't give him access. Nobody gets hurt. Good hockey play.
I was going to say, I needed you to explain to me how that was a penalty. Didn't hit him high, didn't hit him in the head. He had the puck. So, Chaput takes the hit, and Borowiecki draws a penalty out of it. Off the draw. Quick shot, knocked away. Anderson bouncing puck, scores! Knocked out of midair by Umberger, I believe, and it's 2-0 Columbus.
Hey, just looking much too easy. Johansson again able to get a quick wrist shot through the crowd as he did when he got his goal on the power play in the first period. Johansson again with the puck. You'll see him how after winning the face-off, he's just looking too easy. Here's Johansson with a puck, gets it right through, nobody challenging him, and it appears as though Umberger got a stick on it well below the crossbar. There's 18, and he jams it home, so I don't think there's going to be any argument. There you see the stick, and there is no argument. A 2-0 lead, both power play goals, both initiated by Johansson, getting the first goal in the first period, and this one here getting an assist.
Again, the Senators give the puck away in their own end. The quick turn back by Foligno. In behind the net. Move it back to the point. Drew Travis. There's a shot knocked down side of the net, out the other side. Johansson ends up with a stick. Back in front. Here's Foligno to the point. Cross ice. Zach Johnson throws it back to the corner. Here's Umberger. Centering pass. That pinballs off a couple of legs and finally cleared back to the point. There's a shot right on. Save is made as Anderson takes it high. Umberger was hit in behind the Ottawa net, got up very slowly, and now heads back to the Columbus bench just as slowly. Ottawa dumps it in to the corner. Greening goes in to get it, all wrapped up with Fedor Tutin. Round the boards. Carlson tries to lay it back to the corner. Greening back in front. Quick shot, and that one skips to the corner as Turris didn't get full wood on it. Bobby Ryan tries to reverse the puck. That gets knocked down along the boards now. Play comes back to the point. Methot along the boards. Here's Turris. Back up high. Puck is thrown to the net by Methot. Hits the skate of Fedor Tutin. Cross ice. Carlson makes a move. Cuts in. Drops it back. Here's Methot. Again low to the corner. Gives it. Gets it back. Carlson snaps it through. Glove down by Bobrovsky. And he ends all of this.
Local sports on Rogers TV. Your community, your teams. For the most local sports, watch Rogers TV.
Well, you heard Dean mention about Umberger getting hit behind the net. It was 15 Zach Smith. They gave him a real good ding, and Umberger went down. I would venture to say it was a little bit, probably lost his wind, and then there he is again. He's checking his chin out.
Scored in back-to-back games now. It's 5 on the year.
Well, he's been a goal scorer now. Came in 3 goals in the last 6 games.
Spezza Methot. Here's Methot with a shot. Pad save by Bobrovsky. Spezza back to the point. Methot again throws it through, this time gloved again by Bobrovsky.
Again, the coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets, Todd Richards, really welcoming the scoring by committee. And now we talked about 4 guys have 5 goals in on the season. Johansson now 6 with his first, and Umberger has gone from 4 to 5. Maybe part of that is because Todd Richards has really come out and said, I'm going to keep everybody accountable. You make bad plays and don't play the shifts that I like, you're going to sit. Always a motivator.
Back to the point. Bring the puck to the corner. Here's Spezza. Going to dig the puck out along the boards. Korvietsky with a shot. That hits a leg and it bounces back out to center. To the line. Spezza tries to throw it to the net. Knocked down. Along the boards. Korvietsky holds it in. To the corner. Slides around the boards. McKenzie trying to get away from McCulloch. McCulloch turns the puck. They can't get control of it. Here to the line. Condra just trying to hold it in. It pops up in the air. Ends up in the Ottawa bench. A 2-0 Columbus lead here in period number 2.
Sometimes you got to ask yourself, is less more? Well, for Erik Karlsson, what I find is interesting in the last several games, you take a look at the amount of ice time against Boston, 30-43. He hadn't seen that amount of ice time in the prior 4 games. Now, the Senators were on a mini winning streak, right? 4-0-1. And in every one of those games, I noticed that Paul McLean reduced the ice time of Erik Karlsson in each and every game going forward. It was only against Boston that he got up to the 30-minute mark, and that happened to be 10 minutes more than the previous game against the Philadelphia Flyers. So my point is, when Stars aren't producing, it's not such a bad thing to take the most valuable thing that's out there, ice time, away from them to get them back in their rhythm. I'm telling you, because now the Ottawa Senators are on a mini winning streak, and they've had a lot less of Erik Karlsson.
Off the boards, puck is cleared all the way back down ice again and again. Nice and Collin to face off back inside the Columbus zone.
And again, the whole thing is to, think about the big picture. You want your players throughout the season to keep getting better and better and better, and to value the ice time. That's what a coach has in terms of any kind of discipline. That's the ice time. I take it away, I'm trying to make a point. And oftentimes it does. The idea is to build and build. Karlsson has been at the top of the defense scoring list right now in the NHL, but I don't know that everybody would agree that he's playing his best hockey.
Centering pass goes off the skate of Bobby Ryan. And so the Jackets will have to do this again. Here's David Savard. Off the boards out to center. Foligno gets wrapped up right at the line. Has to go back into his own end, looking for some help. Slides it across to Savard. And back to the middle. Umberger dumps it in. Foligno and Turris in behind the net. Turris comes up with the puck, tips it ahead to Method out to center. Here's MacArthur. MacArthur tries to throw it wide side. It's deflected and knocked away. And we're going to get a penalty call here, and it's going to be for too many men on the ice against Columbus.
This HD broadcast presented by Bell 5 TV. Watching hockey just got better.
Boy, that's a tough call. You're leading the game 2-0. This is an opportunity. Maybe the Senators will be able to work out. You see all the white jerseys, too many. You got 4 here and 2 by the bench. There's a 5-foot rule, and you've got to get there before the replacement jumps on the ice.
So Ottawa goes to the power play for the 3rd time in this game, 0 for 2, and they have mustered but 1 shot on those 2 power plays.
Certainly at this point in time, your time is winding down in the second. Down by 2, a power play goal can really do a lot to liven up the bench.
Here's Zibanejad. Carries the puck deep. Tipped off his stick. Cleared but not out. Karlsson lines. Fires! Deflected, and Bobrovsky very fortunate to have it deflect right into him.
Well, again, I think, interesting that Zibanejad is getting much more looks on the offense while on the power play. You'll see 93 in black. There he is circling in the front, and that thing either goes off his skate or his stick. But he's very well positioned for the little redirection towards the front of the net and picked up, obviously, by Karlsson.
Phillips plays it back along the boards. Here is Phillips. Under pressure, goes to the side of the net. McCulloch plays it to the other side. Conacher back to the point. Karlsson snaps it across. Phillips winds, fires. That one blocked on the way to the net. Zibanejad tries to center the puck. It's cleared by McKenzie all the way back down ice.
Really good shift by that odd group on the power play. McCulloch and Zibanejad and Conacher.
1 minute gone, 1 to go in the power play. McCulloch. McCarthy plays it around the boards. Here's Spezza. Back in front. Ryan back to Spezza. Karlsson. Drops it back. Spezza off the wall with it. Low to the corner. McCarthy drops it back for Spezza. Centers the puck. Nobody there. And Nisimov hammers it off the boards back down ice. Lots of movement, but nothing getting to the net. 25 seconds to go on the power play. Cross ice to the line and in. Here's Turris. Sends it hard around the boards on the other side. Bobby Ryan sends it to the net. MacArthur not expecting it around the board. Spezza pins it. Low to the corner. Spezza gives it and now gets it back. To the point. Karlsson changes the angle. Turris winds, fires. That goes off a leg. Spezza settles it. Back to the box. Turris! What a save by Bobrovsky. Comes back and takes the net away from Turris.
And he does it with the midsection. He moves that whole body. When I was watching him before the game, the kind of exercises he was doing, it was incredible how he showed so much nimbleness. And actually on this particular play, it's not a kick, a plaid save or a blocker save. He really gets the body over very, very quickly. There you see the push. That's a huge save on a one-timer.
Bobrovsky, one of 5 Russian-born goaltenders in the National Hockey League. As a matter of fact, there are only 27 Russian-born players in the entire league, and 4 of them are on this team. The Columbus Blue Jackets have the highest Russian content in the National Hockey League. Here's Johansson moving in, his shot. Anderson to save. and finds the rebound and holds on as we now get a bit of a disagreement in front of the Ottawa goal as Eric Condra is having a disagreement with Boone Jenner. They'll talk about their problems and we'll come back. A 2-0 Columbus lead here in the second.
Welcome back. Tickets for all games for the remainder of this season are now available, including this Wednesday versus the Minnesota Wild. For more information, go to capitaltickets.ca. And it's the Road to Rio presented by CIBC. Coverage begins Tuesday at 2 p.m. on Sportsnet 1 and continues on Sportsnet 360, East Ontario West, and Pacific at 2:30 p.m.
All right, thank you, Sean. Face off to the right of Anderson. Greiba is off in the box for his transgression after that little disagreement. Before he went away to break, so back on the power play is Columbus. 2 for 2 with 4 shots so far. I would suggest closer attention to Johansson might be the rule of the day since he scored 1 and assisted on 1 on the power play. Back to the line and out. It's only a suggestion, though. Circling in his own end. Here's Murray with it now. Murray drops it back. Johansson carries it to the line. Curls at the line. That comes off his stick. Condra can't get there to clear it out. Although he turns around his man as he turns Murray around. Puck comes free and Cowan snaps it back down ice. Heavy Canadian content on the Columbus defense. Johansson is an American. Johnson is American. Putin is a Russian. Wisniewski is an American. Nikitin a Russian. Savard and Murray the Canadians. 47% of all defensemen in the National Hockey League are Canadian-born. Columbus does not make the league average as far as Canadian content on their blue line. Back in, here's Atkinson trying to cut to the net. His shot misses wide. Along the boards. Play is whistled down. Tripping is the call. So with a 2-0 Columbus lead, they are now going to have the opportunity for a 27-second 5-on-3 as Borowiecki will go off 2 for the trip.
Well, this is Atkinson showing a little speed on the outside. You see how he breaks through. And the Columbus Blue Jackets have done one thing very well since the very beginning of the game, and that is their entry into the Ottawa Center zone. They've found a way to be able to get into the Ottawa Center zone and often get possession. And that, to me, has been the biggest reason why Columbus, even though their 2 power play goals, have had the edge in play.
Off the draw. Here's Tootin. Gives it, then gets it back from Dubinsky. Switches spots with Wisniewski. Wisniewski now. Low to the corner. Gets it back. His shot blocking the way to the net. Phillips tries to clear it. The stick snaps in half. Scores! From the point, Tootin blows it by everybody, and insult to injury, the Senators will remain shorthanded. Greiba comes out of the box, but Borowiecki will stay in.
Wow, this is tough. I wanted to see how Foligno and Phillips got together. It was not a slash by Foligno, so you could forget about calling a penalty, but here is what happens. There you see the stick, and it appears as though Foligno was hard on his, and Phillips as though he's trying to get the puck out of the zone on a backhand. There the stick breaks, unable to be able to get it back, and at this point almost defenseless for the eventual shot on goal. Fedor Tootin getting the 3rd power play goal. This is incredible.
3 goals in this game, all on the power play, and here's Atkinson again to the Ottawa line and in. Minute 20 to go, and now the 5-on-4 power play as the puck is cleared back to the line, but not out. Jack Johnson carries it along the boards. Round the other side, Atkinson lets it slide back to Murray. Murray goes wide side. Johnson with a shot that's blocked by Mathot. Turning quickly in the corner. Mathot puts the body into his man, but couldn't get it away from Boone Jenner. McCulloch blocks the pass intended for Boone Jenner. 4 defenders, 3 sticks. McCulloch playing stickless. Down low to the corner. Jenner gets the shot away, but both Mafat and Spezza get the stick in on it. That deflects it up into the mesh, and at the very least, it means that Eric Greiba will get a chance to go back and get another stick. His was broken, and he got a new one from McCulloch.
And again, somehow the Columbus Blue Jackets have really been able to get the Ottawa Senators to at least not able to get to them. They're playing wide. Senators have had stick problems all the way through. Trying to kill penalties 5-on-5. It's been really tough in the Ottawa zone as Columbus is gaining that confidence that they've been looking for.
Along the boards. Foligno down low, waiting for something to get to the net. Here's Wisniewski, turns with it. Back to the box, he tries to send it, knocked down by Condra. Feeds it ahead out to center. Here's Grant, shorthanded to the line. Tries to take it to the net. It's tied up by Tootin, knocked off his stick. Turris comes in, pokes it back to the corner. Here's Grant. Grant, wrapped up by Foligno. Tootin pokes it out from his skates. And this will exhaust the final moments of the Columbus power plays. Borowiecki is back out now. Cross ice to the line and in. Carlson takes away the path from Foligno. And now Carlson skates it out to center. Carlson down to the line. Knocked off his stick, so he just chips the puck in deep. Quickly, Columbus back to the neutral zone. Lead pass. Coming across. Greiba takes Como off the puck and backhands it out to center. McKeaton now snaps it back to the wing, and here's Como again to the line. And again, Greiba knocks it away from him. To the line and in. Here's Bobby Ryan. Ryan trying to fend off McKenzie out the other side. Turns it back in front. It goes off a skate to the corner. Off the boards. Como again trying to get it out. This time he's trying to get it past Turris. Finally, the puck is flipped ahead and out to center. Here comes McKenzie. Slaps it down inside the Ottawa end. Out of the net, Anderson plays it to the corner. Phillips ahead to center. Turris tries to go to the wing, but it wicks off a stick. At the line, Como bats it into the Ottawa end. Gets back up again, gets a weak shot away. It's knocked away by Anderson, who covers up the rebound and holds on for a face-off when we return. A 3-0 lead for the Blue Jackets here in period 2.
The Toronto Maple Leafs are defying the conventions of hockey analytics. No, it's not a fluke, but the game they're playing has no margin for error. Subscribe today at www.sportsnet.ca/magazine. Make sure you don't miss the next Canadian Tire Senators hockey broadcast. Ottawa goes to Philly to take on the Flyers. Coverage begins Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. You can find it on Sportsnet East in Ontario. Regional restrictions are in effect.
Spezza in the face-off circle against Artem Anisimov, and off the draw. Spezza wins it. Conacher flips it down to the Columbus line. It's picked up there by David Savard. And former Senator Cody Bass's jersey. Bass has not played a game this year because of a broken thumb. And his traditional number 58 has now been given to Savard.
A lot of glove passing around there. Mikhail Shabu had lost his glove. He went to the bench, and then I don't know. There seemed to be a lot of exchanges of gloves there. I was wondering if the referee was pointing to the bench and looking for some kind of finality to all of that so they can get on with the game.
Here's a steal, and Zibanejad back to the line. Runs it around the boards. Spezza back to the point. Mafat works it across. Carlson gives it back. Mafat winds, fires. It's gloved down by Bobrovsky.
Well, you might remember that when the Ottawa Senators were in Columbus, McElhinney played in that game, played pretty well, but just overwhelmed by the Senators. And the reason for not playing Bobrovsky was very clear. Todd Richards said he's having some issues. He's not playing well. We need to give him time, not unlike an injury. Instead of rushing him back, we're giving him a few extra days off so that he can get his game better. And that is part of why this team has not lost in regulation the last 3 games. He's been a lot better. Actually, I should make mention that it was McElhinney who was in goal against the Montreal Canadiens.
Atkinson back to the net. Ottawa breaks it out 3-on-2. Zach Smith Slides it across. McCulloch back in front for Smith. His stick lifted at the last second by Tootin. Back to the line. Here's Greibe. Gets it across. Jared Cowan winds, fires, pad, saved by Bobrovsky. Puck cleared to the boards and now sent all the way back down ice.
Another stick gone out of the hands of the Senator player. And that one, McCulloch.
Bobby Ryan back to the net. Gets the puck to Turris. Turris trying to find the backside help coming in off the face-off change. It was MacArthur, but his pass knocked down before it ever got to MacArthur. Here's Foligno now. Along the boards to the corner. Puck is tipped to the other side. Carlson goes to get it. There's Erik Karlsson. Snaps it out to center. Kyle Turris falls, gets up, dumps it in, then takes a bang from Foligno. Gives him a cross-check in the kidneys for his troubles. And the two of them continue at each other. Coming back. Bobby Ryan takes away that rush chance away from Murray as he tried to come through the neutral zone with the puck. Here's Foligno now. Gets to center, dumps it in. Penalty call is on the way as Bobby Ryan has the stick chopped out of his hand, and the Senators will go to the power play in desperate need of anything good to happen on their power play because there has been none of that so far today.
Well, you watch the Boston Bruins, they didn't have much going on the power play. They put Big Zdeno Chara in front of the net. So maybe the Ottawa Senators have got something like that coming off the bench, something so different that it might actually work.
Well, whoever is in front of the net, I'm not sure, Denny, right now is as important as how many pucks are getting to the net. The Senators in 3 power plays have 3 shots. So you can put Godzilla in front of the net. He can't block the goaltender's vision if the pucks don't go to the net. So I would imagine, and I may be wrong, but I would imagine, knowing Paul McLean, that he is saying something he has said to his team many times before. Get the puck back to the point and shoot it. Go simple when it's not going well. We'll see if any of that happens. Spezza wins the draw. Back to the point. Karlsson gets it across. Turris tries to go back through the box. And the puck comes back outside the line.
That's exactly what you're talking about, Dean, right there. Turris could have gotten the puck to the net.
Karlsson to the line. Doesn't shoot. Drops it back. Spezza to Turris. His shot right on. Save is made. Rebound. Ottawa gets control. Here's Ryan. Bobby Ryan tries to work it back to the point. Turris off the boards to Spezza. Low to the corner. Ryan back in front. Turris with a shot. That's blocked. McKenzie dives in front of it. Back to the corner. Spezza reverses the puck to the corner. MacArthur back in front. Turris with a shot, and that hits McKenzie in the back on the way to the net. McKenzie's making saves when he's not even looking. Spezza winds, fires, misses. Off the boards. Puck is cleared back to the net. Here's Tootin. Bobby Ryan out the other side, tries to wrap around, couldn't get it to go. Puck goes off a skate back out to center, and Letestu clears it back down ice. Bouncing puck goes off the pad of Anderson. Back up ice. Here's Karlsson. This has so far been Ottawa's best power play of the afternoon, and I think for no small reason, because at least they've tried to shoot.
Yeah. Keep an eye on Bobby Ryan. He lost his stick there and also indicated that he got hit in the face with a hockey stick.
Phillips holds it in. McCulloch back to the point. Karlsson pass was in behind him. Just tries to get it to the net. Finally, it's poked back out to center. And that will about do it. Umberger is back on the ice now. So the Senators, although it looked better and they had more pucks directed to the net, only one of them actually got through. So 4 shots in the power play. There's a shot from Umberger, deflected to the corner by Anderson as it just went off his blocker out to center. Here's Conacher. Drops it back, and Mafat now carries it down to the Columbus line in his final minute of period 2. Goes to get it himself as Mafat goes in. Tangles up with 3 Blue Jackets. Puck comes free, and it's shoveled back out and down ice. Borowiecki goes to get it. Icing waved off. As Borowiecki picks the puck up. Ahead to Zach Smith. Zach Smith skates it through center by Foligno. To the line and in. Here's Smith. Carries it wide. His shot right on. Bobrovsky the save in the dying moments of period number 2. Just 27.6 seconds remaining.
Now, Bobby Ryan got shaken up in the last game, and here, watch what happens as he goes to the net for the wraparound. Doesn't quite get it. Gets the stick there, and I think he's trying to buy a penalty in that one, but he indicated that he got hit somewhere high and went back to the bench. No sympathy from the guys in stripes.
To the corner, Nikitin. Safety first. They just get it out to center and lob it down to the Ottawa line. And why wouldn't you when you get a 3-goal lead? Tap back to the neutral zone, and here's Savard. Puck is deflected by Atkinson deep to the corner. Everyone looks up at the clock. Cowan has a look and realizes the only thing you can do now is bad if you do anything, so just don't do a thing at all. 3-0 Columbus leads after 40 minutes of play. Hockey Central at the intermission. Coming your way, Doug MacLean in studio with your lovable host, Jeffrey Merrick.
Hear that, Doug? You can call me lovable. Another 2 power play goals.
He meant lovable Denny.
I think he's probably correct. 2 more power play goals by the Columbus Blue Jackets. 3-0 after 40. We come back, have a look at what exactly Ottawa has done wrong and how they need to jump back into this one. Doug with a closer look and a look around the NHL as well. 3-0 after 40.
Second period scoring summary brought to you by The Brick. Nobody beats The Brick for furniture, mattresses, appliances, and big screen TVs. All CBJ in the second period. RJ Umberger, his 5th of the year, made it 2-0 Columbus, and Feder Tooten gave the Jackets a 3-0 lead with the second of the season. Now joined by Jason York. Jason, I'm sure those are 2 periods that the Senators will surely like to put behind them. But for you, the biggest difference was the battle of special teams, one that the Senators lost. How so?
Absolutely. Every single coach I've played throughout my NHL career says if you win the special teams game in an NHL hockey game, most likely you're going to win the hockey game. Tonight, Columbus Blue Jackets have scored 3 power play goals, but the Senators have had their opportunities, but not shooting the puck when they're getting the opportunity. And when they are getting their shots off, no traffic in front. A couple other times, clean shots, but Columbus doing an excellent job at getting in the shooting lanes and blocking those shots. Right there, Kyle Turris gets a shot. And on the other hand, the Senators doing a real nice job on the 5-on-3. Nice block by Cowan. Phillips goes to clear, breaks his stick. Unfortunately ends up in the back of Ottawa's net. Sometimes this game is a game of inches, but right now Columbus is taking a lot of inches on those power plays.
Thank you, Jason. Third period coming up. Dean, Denny.
All right, and the Ottawa Senators obviously have enough time to correct this, but Denny, they have to correct their play first of all, and as Sean and Jason talked about, you got to get shots, you got to clean up things in your own end, you got to stop giving the puck away. These are not complicated things as far as figuring out what the issues are this afternoon, but you know the coaching staff has been banging on this on the bench, banging on it in the locker room between periods, and it's not complicated how to get back in this game.
Yeah. No, common sense will tell you that if you do increase the amount of shots on goal, that's where you're going to get your break. You know, the unforeseen bounce that'll go your way. And if the Senators could get on the board with that kind of a shot, then all of a sudden things may build from there. They've only got 20 minutes to get it done.
Well, they came back. They were down 2 to the Boston Bruins, came back and scored 4 unanswered. So it is not an impossible mountain to climb for this team, but they need to play more like they played in that Boston game to have that happen. The thought along the boards, digs the puck out of the corner. Turns back to try and get some breathing room. Turns again for the same reason. Ahead to center. It slides by Conacher all the way down ice. And this will be an icing call when touched up and whistled down as Jack Johnson went back to retrieve it.
Well, one of the areas that really needs improvement is you've got to help each other on the back line. Here the thought he gets the puck right here, and he's going to look for somebody to pass it to when he goes back, and Carlson does not put himself in a position where he can get a pass. Therefore, the thought has to go back to the strong side.
Here's Dubinsky trying to get it to the net, knocked down by Colin Greening. Along the boards, puck still in the corner. Greening unaware it's behind him. Steers it to the other side. Spezza waiting for it. Spezza just shovels it back out to center. McCulloch knocks it down, tries to feed it across, and does for Colin Greening. Greening turns back, waits for help to come off the bench. Gets it to Gryba. Throws it to the open side, but Neal can't get there in time. And the Jackets back to center. Murray floats it along the boards. Columbus gets their change as Anderson steers it to the corner. Zach Smith now. Down to the Columbus line, carries it cross ice into the zone, drops it. Gryba with a shot, glove down by Bobrovsky, and he will hold on.
Molson Canadian invites you to watch the game from your Sens Army headquarters. Go to OttawaSenators.com for a list of locations, including these fine establishments.
Well, so far, certainly things have changed, meaning shots on goal. But one of the keys for Columbus was to come into this game and really reduce the amount of shots on their goaltenders. They've only allowed 18 so far.
Last 3 games for them coming into this game, as we mentioned off the top of the show. All games that went to extra time. All games they ended up losing. The last one in a shootout. 2 before that in overtime. Something this team, at least many on this team, should be used to. This team played the most overtime or extra time games last year in the NHL. 17 of them. They were 10-7 in extra time games last year. Out to center. Through the middle, here's Zibanejad. Sends a shot in, deflected away by Bobrovsky. Back to the point. Borowiecki just bangs it around the other side. Carlson sends it to the front of the net. That slides by Zibanejad. And here's Foligno back out to center.
Zibanejad, notice in the middle.
Here's Carlson again. Wines fires. That hits the stick of Nikitin, breaking his stick in half. He's lob it up to center. Here's Bold to the line. Flips the puck to the corner. Here's Bobrovsky at the other end. Steered some of the shard stick remains to the corner to get them out of the way of the front of the net. Some of them, I guess, deflected over in front of him.
Well, it's not just the fact that there's line changes going on, but the combinations are very different. Turris is right there now playing with Condra and Derek Grant. So we'll keep an eye on how Paul McLean sends his troops out. He had Zibanejad between MacArthur and Bobby Ryan. Zibanejad, I must say, has had a pretty good game in that at least he looks like he's skating and has directed the puck towards the net. And here you have interesting again. McCulloch, rather than on the left wing, is playing the right wing, and Conacher moved over to the left side. So a lot of little tweaking going on, as you could expect, by the Ottawa coaching staff.
Anderson plays it out to center, airmailing it down to the Columbus end. Here's Letestu now. Slides the puck ahead. Como to the line, dumps it in. Anderson waiting for it. Pokes it back to the boards. Letestu first on it, though. Centers the puck. Como couldn't get a shot away. Drops it back. Murray with a shot. That's knocked down. Letestu in front, battling for the puck. But Gryba ties him up. Puck is cleared back out to center. Gryba spun around by Letestu as the puck arrives. And Columbus takes over in their own end. Deflected to the corner. Anderson leaves it there. Here's Gryba. Ahead to Chris Neal. Neal at center. Dumps the puck to the line. Not deep enough, though. And it's cleared back out again.
Well, with this line on the ice, you can hear the home crowd starting to chant for a little action. This is the line that can really start making things happen, I suppose, with hitting and good pressure. Zach Smith line.
Columbus cross corners the puck. Anderson along the boards. Here's Zach Smith. Puts it back to the net. Borowiecki goes to get it. Reverses the puck to the open corner. Gives Jared Cowan some space and time to play it ahead out to center. Neal floats the puck deep inside the zone. Zach Smith goes in to get it. Back to the net. He and Savard go to the corner together. Dubinsky comes in. Out of the corner. Greening got a weak backhand away that was knocked down before it ever got to Bobrovsky. And again, they just floated the Jackets down to the Ottawa end.
Well, they're going to protect this lead just by dumping the puck out and dumping it in.
Here's a steal. Johansson back the other way. Moves in. Cuts by one. And then backhands it over top of the net into the mesh as he took a walk around Jared Cowan.
Well, at this stage of the game, professional hockey, I'd say it's tough to beat a 3-goal lead because you can sit back like this and create that turnover. You just kind of dart out there whenever the opposing team, the team that's down, is trying to go a little too bit on the offense, and you just turn it over and turn it back on them. That was nearly a fourth goal.
Zibanejad out to center. His pass for Bobby Ryan knocked away by Nikitin. And the play is whistled down, is in the neutral zone. Johansson has been shaken up, and now he gets up and heads back to the Columbus bench.
A little bleeding there. I think that he did get a stick in the mouth, and I think the exchange was with Zibanejad there at center ice. Inadvertent situation, but the referees and linesmen are getting together now. Let's see where that stick came from. Whoa, that was from his own teammate. That stick was from his own teammate, and I believe that would have been Umberger. So the linesmen and both referees got together. Chris Rooney and Francois Saint-Laurent got together with Scott Driscoll and Matt McPherson, and certainly at least one of them saw actually what happened, so there's no need for any penalty on the play.
Umberger takes a seat on the bench. You saw right behind him, actually, and you may recognize one of the assistant coaches here, Dan Highnote, a former Colorado Avalanche player. And he is, and will always be noted as the first player to ever be drafted out of the U.S. military college, West Point. Here's Mafat. Plays it to the corner. Actually drafted out of West Point. He intended and expected to be an FBI agent. That's what his intention was, and then hockey became a career. Here's McKenzie with a shot, misses high.
Well, he certainly played with a lot of energy.
Back in front, quick shot, save is made, scores! Gets his own rebound off the pad of Anderson, and it's now a 4-0 Columbus lead.
Well, I think that look on Carlson sort of gives you an idea of what the Ottawa Senators are feeling as a whole. They have let it get this far. They can't look in the mirror and blame anybody else. This has been a game from start to finish that has not been up to what the Senators had shown, at least against the Boston Bruins. And here you have the play, just basically out hustling, make the play to the front of the net, not seeing the people coming, and McKenzie, who's blocked shots with his front and with his back and has done a lot for his team in this game, gets rewarded with a goal as he sneaks by Carlson.
Now they're going to have a look at this, and you know that the Situation Room in Toronto just wants to make double sure that he didn't kick this in, because his original shot went into the pad of Anderson, then it came off and then into the net. And they just want to make absolutely sure that he did not kick it in. I did not see a kicking motion myself, and I would wager this will end up being a good goal.
The other thing was that the net did get dislodged. I don't know if that had any bearing on it, but if the net is dislodged, no, not enough. Right here. Yeah, the puck is beyond the goal line even before the contact with the net, so that wasn't the issue. And McKenzie did not get his skate on the puck either.
So it is now a 4-0 lead for Columbus. Lead pass through the middle. Here's Spezza trying to break in. Spezza loses control of the puck, turns around, fires it to the front of the net. Bobrovsky comes over and lays out Bowl. And now drops the gloves, is coming across ice to deal with him. Is a very angry Wisniewski, and they go down. Wisniewski still chucking them. As Borowiecki came across and laid out Bowl.
Not to sound too Philadelphia-ish, but a play like that certainly needed to happen at some point in time, maybe to try and get the Ottawa Senators energized and playing. There's still time in this hockey game, but that is the kind of hit that you really want to have earlier in the game, and maybe a game changer for that. And it's amazing that it would have to be Borowiecki in his 7th game to be the one that delivers it.
I'm just not entirely sure why Wisniewski is down in the box. Is this not an automatic instigator? Is he not done for 17 minutes?
Yeah.
There was no fight going on between Borowiecki and Bowl, and Wisniewski came over, dropped the gloves, and went at Borowiecki, which I understand, but this should be 2-5-10, and I am not exactly sure why Wisniewski is still down in the box.
A little bit of history with Jared Bowl, obviously, and Borowiecki earlier in this game, first period. There you see Jared Bowl. In comes Borowiecki, little chatter, little push, and just now an opportunity was presented to Borowiecki, and I don't know that I would have missed that opportunity as well. It was too good to miss.
Okay, Borowiecki has been either ejected or given a misconduct, but he is going to the locker room.
Boy, this will be interesting.
Okay, I am not
totally baffled.
Well, Wisniewski's still in the box, and he's the one who went after Borowiecki. This should be an automatic instigator, but Borowiecki's the one that's been sent to the locker room. So 5 for elbowing, 5 for fighting for Borowiecki. That's 10 minutes for the 5 and 5. There's still 14 left in the game, so I'm not sure why he is gone. They're giving him a 5-minute major. That's the reason. 5-minute major for elbowing.
That was not the call on the ice. That call was made up afterwards.
And now Wisniewski is going to the locker room, as you would expect. 2-5-10 for instigating, I'm sure, will be the call on him.
That elbow is down about chest high upon contact.
Some fans taunting Wisniewski on the way off the ice. And as we look at the face of Paul McLean as he has a discussion right now with Francois Saint-Laurent, you know that he does not agree with this call, and to be frank with you, not meaning to be overly critical of the officials, video evidence does not support the call.
No. And the thing that really would upset Paul McLean, I agree with him, is that if you go back to the second period, there was a Mark Borowiecki hit on Mikhail Chaput in the neutral zone that was just a good, solid hit. And those piled on, it just seemed as though the referees didn't want people to make good contact during the hockey game. He was penalized, and of course a power play goal ensued after that. So the frustration of those good, solid hits by Borowiecki all being penalized is a little far-fetched. A little far-fetched. Hitting is still allowed.
So we open up 4-on-4 here for the next 2 minutes, then a 3-minute power play for Columbus will come after that as Dubinsky is into the zone. Here's Phillips to chase it. Poke back to the net, Anisimov. Spezza goes over. Tries to knock the puck away. Out of the corner, Carlson skates the puck ahead. Now floats it back down ice. And McCullough gets there, beating the icing call. Puck to the corner. Here's Spezza. Here's Spezza out of the corner. Drops it back. Phillips, his shot. That's blocked on the way to the net. Diving attempt to clear it. Successful. Here's Phillips hustling back to get it. With Dubinsky on him. Clears it back to the net. Here's Carlson to the line. Carlson sends it back and manages to put it in behind both of his forwards. And Foligno brings it back the other way. Swept off his stick by Maffat. They go to the corner together. Anderson out of the net. Clears it along the boards. Out to center now. Here's Bobby Ryan to the line. Ryan takes the puck wide. Didn't get himself in behind Fedor Tutin. Now we should mention that the other part of this story is the Ottawa Senators, while the call against, both calls against Borowiecki may not be solid calls, they are not losing this game because of officiating. Here's Zibanejad. Drops it back along the boards. Battling forward is MacArthur. Here's Ryan. Trying to get away from Letestu. Letestu. Puck is loose. Savard now with it. Runs it to the corner. And Nikitin breaks it out to center. In 10 seconds, Como comes out of the box. And a power play will begin. A 3-minute power play will begin for Columbus as Carlson carries it to center. The penalty kill is now in effect for Ottawa. Carlson sends it in front, misses wide. Phillips in from the point. Pinches to keep it alive. Phillips back along the boards. Backs it out. Conacher with a shot. And that deflects wide. Conacher drops it back to the point but misses everybody. It slips all the way back to the Ottawa end. Columbus 3 for 4 on the power play this afternoon with 5 shots as Ottawa ices the puck. Lead pass out to center and down to the line and in. Atkinson throws it wide. Jenner, his shot, glove down and held on to by Anderson for a face-off in the Ottawa end.
You know, I heard somebody say the other night after the Boston Bruin victory, meaning the victory over the Bruins, that the Ottawa Senators had not beaten the Bruins in Ottawa in such a long time that they were due. Well, the Columbus Blue Jackets have not beaten the Ottawa Senators here in Ottawa since February of 2008. So maybe they were due.
Puck goes off McCulloch and out of play into the Ottawa bench, so another face-off. If the Columbus Blue Jackets do hold on to this lead, which every indicator says they will, this will be the first regulation time loss that the Senators have suffered to Columbus. The other 2 losses that they had, Denny, on home ice were both extra time losses. Puck is cleared down to the line. Here's Spezza curling it in the neutral zone.
Now, given what's happened to Columbus, it would take really a miracle for them to give up this lead, given that the last 3 games they went into extra time. They lost all 3.
Now, since Richards took over as the head coach, this Columbus team is 29-0-0 when leading after 2 periods of play. So they do have and have shown the ability under Todd Richards' tutelage to lock it down. To the line. McKeaton gives the puck away. Back up ice. Grant tries to send a shot through. MacArthur tries to tap it back to him. Puck comes free. Here's MacArthur on it again. MacArthur lays it back along the boards. Minute 9 remaining in the Columbus power play, the 3-minute power play. Ahead to center. Here's McKenzie. Flips it to the line. To the corner it goes. Cleared back to the point. Here's Murray. Slides across. Drops the puck down low. Here's Letestu with it. Centers the puck for McKenzie. Knocked down by Erik Karlsson, who then backhands it all the way back down ice. 45 seconds to go. Here's Johnson now. Below the goal line. Weaving his way back to center. Goes to the wing with it. Jenner gets it, tries to give it back to him. Plays it to the corner. Here's Phillips. Trying to get his stick free to play the puck. Back to the point it comes, but nobody there. And Tootin back to his own line to pick it up. Puck springs off a skate. Zach Smith in his own zone. Across to Phillips. 11 seconds to go. And Colin Greening, who's been serving it, will come back out as Zach Smith goes in and puts Tootin into the boards. Back of the zone net. Here's Jenner trying to come out. He is hooked off the puck. Now in the corner. Again, this time Jenner knocked off the puck by Greening. Finally, the Blue Jackets just bail it out to center. Here's Greiba. Back through the middle. Zach Smith feeds it across. Greening flips it in. Goes in to try and chase it. Back of his own net, slinging out the other side. Here's Savard. Savard to center. Floats the puck gently to the corner. Anderson out of the net, gives it away to Anisimov. Anisimov trying to find a friendly stick, centers the puck. Foligno curls it out. Back in front, quick shot, Numberger. His shot tipped off a stick up over the net. Puck comes free, back to the line, and the Jackets recover the puck. Murray flips it back in from center. Foligno has it tipped away from him by Anderson. Here's Karlsson now, ahead to center. Through the middle. Spezza picks it up. Spezza inside the line. His shot hits Bobrovsky in the face. That stunned him. Cowan fires it in. That goes off a leg. As the Blue Jackets put 4 in front of the net. Now Karlsson with 8 minutes to go in the third. Was cross ice for Jared Cowan, who couldn't handle the pass. Now Pohl is on him with a glancing blow. Here's Karlsson now. Backhands it out of the zone as he was getting hacked by Chaput. And the Jackets back in their own zone.
Well, sometimes you kind of go under the understanding that if it's not one thing, it's something else that'll go wrong. Penalty killing has not been great in today's hockey game.
You're watching Canadian Tire, Senators hockey. Now time for the hardest working Senator, brought to you by Marks. Ready for this?
Well, I think everybody in the building would sort of acknowledge number 74 for the Ottawa Senators, playing in his 7th game. He has shown all kinds of toughness. He has stood up the opposition. He has taken the lead in trying to change momentum, and he has stood up for himself rather well. Borowiecki is our man, the hardest working Senator.
Zibanejad in the face-off circle. And Columbus, although not winning the draw, they come out to center with the puck. Down to the corner. Mafat back to get it. Hard on him was Chaput. Mafat somehow kicks the puck ahead. Zibanejad digs it out, steers the puck ahead, and out to center. Rink wide. Here's Bobby Ryan. Tips it inside. Carlson with a shot that misses high. Ball waits too long for the puck. Gives MacArthur a chance to get on it. Pokes it back to the net. Bobby Ryan gets it back to the point. Here's Carlson. Winds. Fires. That's deflected low and wide. Goal goes in with a preemptive hit on Mafat. Both teams changing as Carlson backs it out. Here's Mafat now through the middle. To the line, floated in, glove down there by Tootin off the boards. Plays it back to the Ottawa end. Cowan has to go back to chase it after it came off his glove. Sends it around the boards as he takes contact from Jenner. Puck hops up in the air. Cowan sends it ahead to no one in particular, and the Blue Jackets get control again inside their own line. Puck trickles inside the Ottawa zone. Here's Jared Cowan again. Atkinson on him. Puck goes off the skate of Turris, but again out to center. Condor tries to tip it into the zone, can't do it. Knocks it down and has to let it go as it would have been gloved ahead to himself. And offside as well. Out to center.
Well, certainly a benefit for Columbus by not touching the puck. Play just goes on. Clock ends up winding down.
At center, Cowan floats the puck inside the zone. Here's Spezza. Shovels it back to the net. Tootin in behind the goal. Firm grasp on McCulloch's stick. Back to the net. Tootin runs it around the boards. On the other side. Unable to get it out of Zumberger. Spezza plays it back to the point. Carlson loads it. Doesn't fire it. Here's Phillips. Snaps it through. Knocked down by Bobrovsky. Now Johansson chops the puck ahead to center. It's a 2-on-1. Umberger to the line with Foligno. Foligno drags. Fires. Misses high. Puck is poked ahead back outside the line. Here's Murray inside the zone. Cross corners the puck. Off the boards. First on it. Chaput puts it back to the net. Carlson now. Lead pass out to center. Through the middle. Busting in. Here comes Zach Smith. His shot. Bobrovsky the save. Neal spin around shot. Again the save. Bobrovsky makes a couple of big saves late in period 3. Anything for hockey brought to you by Molson Canadian, diehard fan and proud partner of the Ottawa Senators.
It's a hard game, this game of hockey. You stop shots, you get bruises. You go to the front of the net, you get high-sticked and thrown to the ice. Sometimes your stick breaks, you try and block a shot, and it hurts more when you actually miss the block. As a goal is scored and another drop stick. McCulloch, third dropped hockey stick and a high stick to the face for Bobby Ryan. It's been one heck of an afternoon and not a good one for the Ottawa Senators. Anything for hockey.
Puck goes up and out of play. Face-off comes back outside the line as the last stick it touched on the way out was that of Colin Greening. So again a face-off, and again it'll be Zach Smith and Artem Anisimov. Off the draw. Here's Mark Mafat back at his own line to get it. Gryba now. Through the middle. Smith hung up in the neutral zone. As the Senators having trouble going through the middle of the ice. Puck deflected to the line. Can't get through again. Bold. Stop that up. Now Mafat. Tries the wing. Deflected by Neal deep inside the zone. Bobrovsky leaves it there. Here's Tuch. Sends it to the corner. Como to the line. Puck is held in. Letestu turns around and just flips it back out and back down ice. Karlsson wins the race back to the imaginary line. And now we get pushing and shoving between the benches as Greening and Chaput disagree with each other. Greening drops the gloves, but Chaput is not willing to do the same.
Well, I think they're both going to be set off. You got Chris Rooney right now not going to take a chance on things getting out of hand, and he's sending both those guys off, if not off to the dressing room. We'll see. Oh, yeah. Well, Chaput not happy that he got hit by Green. Now takes it out, or by Neal, I should say. And now taking it out on Greening, who's more than ready to go. Well, I tell you, if you look at the Paul McLean situation, you know, after the way the season started on the West Coast, I know he'll tell you that a road record of 4-3-2 is a pretty good record, given how it started on the road. You remember that. But with a loss here this afternoon, that means their home record, they will go down below 500. That is not good.
The initial indication was that both were going, but Chaput the only one who goes off. As we saw there from the video, Greening didn't do much other than drop his gloves after being slashed, and so the only penalty goes to Chaput. And Ottawa on the power play. They are 0 for 4 today with just 4 shots. Turris around the boards on the other side. Bobby Ryan. Back to the corner again. MacArthur. As again, Turris clears it around the boards. Ryan back to Karlsson. Karlsson shuttles it ahead to Spezza. Spezza drops it back. Here's Karlsson. Gets the puck low. Ryan with a shot. That's blocked. Gets it back as Savard got the body in front of it. Low to the corner. Spezza wheels it in. Bobrovsky makes the save. Puck spills to the corner. A two-hander from Letestu back to the point. Karlsson slides it back door looking for Turris. Turris breaks free from the check. Another penalty call is on the way as Turris was held on the way to the puck. Finally, the puck is tipped back out. Anderson is out of the goal for the extra attacker on the delayed penalty call. And actually, they give it back to Columbus to try and force the whistle so they get the penalty call. And they'll get 43 seconds of 5-on-3 time here.
Well, it'll be interesting to see who Paul McLean puts on the ice. The Top Guns were all on the ice for that last power play. You got to figure that Karlsson will probably stay on the ice. Every 2-minute power play opportunity the Senators have had, Erik Karlsson has played all of the 2 minutes. So he appears to stay on the ice right now. And we'll show you the penalty.
Here's the hold.
Yeah, there's the hold.
So Ottawa, 5-on-3 power play. Conacher tries to swing it in front. Loose puck. McCulloch couldn't poke it in. Back to the point. Here's Phillips. Phillips. McCulloch. Back to Phillips. Doesn't shoot it. There's the shot. Scores! Erik Karlsson.
Interestingly enough, for Erik Karlsson, I know it's a 5-on-3, but that's the first time in this afternoon's game that I've seen him over on the left side, positioning himself for a one-timer. And maybe it's something that the Senators will see a little more of as Chris Phillips lays a beautiful flat pass so that he can just let it go. Not much chance there for Bobrovsky, who's been solid throughout the night. A little bit of a redeemer there for Karlsson getting a goal on this power play.
Phillips, his 6th assist of the year, and that is his 4th power play point of the year.
Well, a lot of scoring needs to happen in a short period of time, and the Ottawa Senators still have 1:40 of power play time with 2:27 remaining. Who knows?
To the line and in. Ottawa still on the power play for another 96 seconds. Bounce to the corner. Bobby Ryan trying to retrieve it. Johnson can't get it out. Turris. Cross to Karlsson. Karlsson walks it in, dumps it back. Turris wide side. One-timer! Bobrovsky comes across and makes the save on Bobby Ryan. Let's check in now with Brendan Dunlop and find out what we have coming up on Connected.
Hey, yes, welcome inside the Connected Studios. Right after the game, we'll get you all caught up. We've got post-game reaction from the Sens losing the battle against the Jackets, plus all the story in the NFL and the CFL. We'll see you then.
Spezza wins the draw, but it's whistled down. They believe it was dropped unfairly. They will double check the clock to make sure that proper time is up there. They add a second.
Still shaking his head. Bobby Ryan got a nice feed there from Carlson. Good shot, just a better save by Bobrovsky. That would have been a goal 21 seconds after the other one. That's what I was talking about. Sometimes things can happen quickly.
Carlson kicks the puck to hold it in. Chance for McKenzie to clear it, and does. Knocked down by Anderson. Carlson back to get it. Under 2 minutes to go in the game as Carlson gets to center. Drops it for Spezza. Flows into the zone with speed. It's a shot away right on Bobrovsky to save. Loose puck is cleared. Carlson elects to take it in the skates and can't control the puck, and everybody has to come back out again. 95 seconds to go in regulation time. To the line and in. Puck is stolen away from MacArthur and heaved back down ice by Anisimov. Carlson again to center. Goes to the wing. Here's Zach Smith cutting in. Drives it to the net. Bobrovsky makes the save. Puck is cleared off the boards and back out to center. Phillips back to corral it. Now Phillips. Lead pass to the line. Greening puts the puck to the corner. Murray first to get it. And Columbus Blue Jackets have won just one of their last 5 and just 2 of their last 10. So this is a huge win for them.
And the last time the Ottawa Senators allowed 3 power play goals. You got to go back over a little 2 years ago, October 18th, 2011, and that was against the Philadelphia Flyers in a 7-2 loss.
Let's have a look at our game review, brought to you by the Ottawa Citizen, presenting sponsor of the Senators 2013-14 season.
Well, the Columbus Blue Jackets had been instructed to lower the shots against. Well, they certainly started the game that way, only allowing 5 shots in the first period, taking advantage of every power play opportunity. They were 3 for 3 for a while, were the Columbus on their power play. There you see the PK. They killed off the penalties and have been the better team in this afternoon's game.
Puck to the corner. Bowl trying to get it out. Gets some help from Savard as he just tries to pin the puck and run the clock. Puck comes up. Bobrovsky to save. Sound of the net as McCulloch got a chance. Puck back to the point. Held in there. Here's Greiba to the corner. Back up high. Zibanejad, one of the one-timer, turns, fires, redirected on the way to the net by Conacher. Conacher trying to battle his way by Savard. Puck to the corner. Nikitin couldn't control it. Back in front. Here's Zibanejad. Puck is rolling and skipping. Back to the point. Greiba just sends it in. It's redirected wide. And that will do it. As the Ottawa Senators fall to the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-1 this afternoon here at Canadian Tire Center.
Regroup, rethink, and a lot more video. Not good things to have to deal with as the Ottawa Senators prepare to go to Philadelphia.
Back to wrap up from Canadian Tire Center in only a moment.